Hey, how you doing, everyone? Really nice to have you along. I'm just going to turn my comments on. It's always nice to hear from you guys. So say hi if you're joining today. It's a bit of a damp, cold day in Leicester. I'm here again at the Space to Breathe Collective, this amazing not-for-profit yoga and therapy centre, and I'm very lucky to be part of it. So thanks to the Space to Breathe for lending their space to me to breathe in with you guys. And just to let you guys know that it is Time to Talk Day today, the 5th of February. How's it the 5th of February already? And Time to Talk is in association with Mind. And it's kind of like they talk about it being the nation's biggest mental health conversation, a chance to listen, to share, and to talk about what really matters. To talk about what really matters. And there's a really nice campaign around this where, you know, you'll see some of the visuals which they've got, and it will be like, it's good to talk about VAR in football, but it's also good to talk about, you know, your friend who is probably struggling, or, you know, there's all these little analogies about sometimes our conversations can be a little bit the same, right? If I think about how I used to be. Now, that's not to say that all of my conversations are very insightful, not at all. And it's not to say that all of my conversations are, you know, even heartfelt, right? I try and have heartfelt conversations these days. But if I think about how I used to be, you know, when I was, 10, 15 years ago, it would be more about talking about football, you know, talking about work. I can't really think about anything else, right? Talking about TV. They're all good things to talk about, right? But sometimes there's that kind of deeper conversation that sits beneath that we're kind of scared to sometimes talk about. So that's kind of what Time to Talk Day is all about, having those harder conversations. And it might be that, you know, you meet up with a friend for coffee, and that's not to say that, you know, you're going to use your friend as a surrogate therapist. That's not what Time to Talk Day is all about. But to have those conversations, to say, I'm struggling, I probably need some help, I need to reach out. And, you know, when you do that, what I found is that people kind of reciprocate those conversations, right? What I love about relationships are they're two-way. That's a relationship, right? That's the only way they can exist. Otherwise, a lot of the conversations we can have can be quite transactional. And again, transactional is fine, right? Now and again, or even, you know, half the time. But sometimes we need to have those deeper conversations. For me, having those deep conversations with a therapist, with a talking therapist, and when I had therapy, I was having therapy about 10 years ago. That's what really changed my life, right? It just changed my life from being, you know, an IT salesman who felt quite stuck and felt quite scared and sad about the world. And that's not to say that I sit here self-actualized and everything's perfect in my life, because life isn't like that. But I've seen some really significant changes. And that was just because I had the courage and the bravery to open up and to talk to somebody who gave me, you know, the space to do that. Yeah, I paid for that, sure. And that was like a client therapy relationship. But then what I've learned is a lot of my conversations and a lot of my friendships that have developed since then have been really different. And that's not to say there's not a lot of joy and there's not a lot of laughter. That's all part of it, right? But sometimes the conversations need to be a little bit deeper. So maybe reflect on that. That's what Time to Talk Day is all about. You can find a lot of the information on Mind. And also, I think we've got some information here. Let me just have a look, because I've been chatting away so much. Look at all of this information that's just put up. And it says it's Time to Talk Day. And if you've got a friend or colleague or family member that is struggling with their mental health, why not check in with them today and remind them that it's good to talk and to seek help and support. And there's loads of help and support, right? This is a massive help and support in terms of the virtual village hall, moving the body, thinking about things, being creative, right? Connecting in this virtual way. It's huge, right? Thinking about the way that we look after ourselves, all the stuff that we did a couple of weeks ago. Was that 2 weeks ago? Was it last week? It was last week, right? Time to Move Week, where we kind of like, you know, we really looked at that exercise snacking and how good that is for us to kind of move the body and energize ourselves and feel connected, because it has to start with ourselves, right? And the more that we feel better about ourselves, the more that then we can either reach out or we can serve our communities. And there's got to be hope, which is attached to all of this stuff. So what I wanted to do before we start is I wanted to just read a little bit from this amazing yoga teacher called Norman Blair. And I read from his book from time to time. You probably heard me reading from it. And he sent a beautiful email. I'm on his mailing list. And if you want to be on his mailing list, check him out. He's called Yoga with Norman. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. And he talked about hope. And I think there needs to be hope in everything, right? So he said, we have to hope because this and then helps us to be less stuck. Because hope can inspire vision. Because hope could make our hearts sing rather than being overwhelmed by difficulties and obstacles. It's true that the world is volatile and things can feel and are fragile. And we hope there is sunshine tomorrow. Definitely today, right? We can hope for personal wellness. We can hope for world peace. Hope is important because it helps us to deal with certain challenges of life. Hope can remind us that through sorrows, there are undeniable joys. So an acronym for hope could be humility, optimism, persistence, and empathy. And humility keeps us grounded and ensures that our hopes are realistic. Optimism could be less a mood and more a method. So tell stories that build agency and know that destiny is not fixed. Nothing's fixed, right? We've got it all to go for. Persistence because we need to keep going, right? And empathy recognizes the webs of interconnection and interdependence. And another acronym for hope could be helping other people every day. Helping other people every day, which could also be called support or solidarity, right? Hope can feed our imagination. Hope might lessen the flames of resentment and encourage social justice and human dignity. Hope is how change happens. Hope for better ways of being alongside an appreciation of the moment now. An appreciation of the moment now. This is all we've got. This bit right now, right? Not in 20 minutes time when this is done, not 20 minutes ago, right? Right now. So that's what we find in our yoga practice, presence, being present, right? As much as we can. It's a really hard thing to do. Despite incessant media stories and social media dramas, the fact is that most people choose fairness and kindness. I think it's important to say that again, right? The fact is most people choose fairness and kindness. That's beautiful, right? The fact is that most people choose mutual aid over rage. It's never hopeless. The philosopher John Berger wrote, hope is not a form of guarantee. It's a form of energy. And very frequently that energy is strongest in circumstances that are very dark. So hope is both a verb and a noun. Hope is a practice. I think that's beautiful. Check it out. Yoga with Norman. Sign up to his newsletter because he's a right on guy. He teaches beautiful yin yoga classes and he writes beautifully like that. So I just really love the stuff that he does. So hopefully that's given you, hopefully, a little bit of hope, right? Let me do this and let me just check back in. Hello to Jackie. Who else has said hello? Is it just Jackie that said hello? Not just Jackie. Margaret's here from Northumberland, always, right? Irene, yes, lovely. And thank you so much for putting the Norman Blair Yoga. Hi there, Irene, as well. I've just said that. But yeah, thank you so much for putting yogawithnorman.co.uk. Beautiful stuff, really beautiful stuff. All right, we've already done 10 minutes of chatting, but that's yoga, right? I'm going to go back onto my mat. Do you think I can slide back there? I'm going to give it a go. Let's see what happens. Oh, I've got to move my camera. And we're going to do plenty of stuff seated today. In fact, the whole class may be seated. Look at that. Dave slides all the way back. And then come with your legs crossed. Now, I said on Tuesday, or was it Monday? It was Monday when we did the chair yoga class here, that you can do a lot of this class in the chair. So feel free to do that. All right. Bring some length into your spine. And then maybe just close your eyes or just soften your gaze just for a little bit of time and notice what you're noticing. Check into your physical body. Maybe notice how your breath feels as you breathe in, as you breathe out. Beautiful. Nice. And then from here, we're going to start moving because there's been a lot of chat so far. So inhale to bring your arms all the way up. Bring your hands to your heart. Exhale. Bring your hands to your heart center. Do that 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale down. 1 more time. Inhale to bring the arms up. And then exhale to bring the hands down. Nice. Into a twist. So inhale, bring the hands up. Exhale, twist to the right. Left hand, right knee, right hand behind. Inhale to find length. And then exhale into your twist. Nice and simple, right? Notice how your spine feels. Every inhale, find length. Every exhale, find your twist. So I'm rolling the right shoulder back, the left shoulder forward. Keeping my chin sort of in line with the floor. Not too much movement through my neck. Keeping my head nice and neutral. Take 1 more round of breath. Deep inhale. Take a full exhale. And then lean back into the hands and swap your legs out if you want to. I'm going to do that because I like it. Inhale to bring the arms up. Reach up to the sky. Exhale. Twist to the left. Right hand, left knee, left hand behind. Inhale to find length. Exhale into your twist. And just keep breathing like this. I like that idea, with hope that we're never stuck. And you never know, right? Sometimes you will have a relationship with somebody and you won't talk about something because of shame or, you think they won't receive it well. And it's just our human condition, right? That none of us get out of it unscathed, right? We all carry our kind of trauma and our drama and our life's work, and that's all part of being human. And sometimes it can feel really overwhelming. Take 1 more round of breath. And then exhale, come back to center. Nice. Do a little bit of Sufi grind, hands on the knees, circle your torso around your hips. And what I found with talking more about my feelings and talking more about, my hurt, is that just that fact of talking and getting it out of your head was hugely healing for me. To have somebody to do that with, my therapist. They call it in person-centered therapy, unconditional positive regard, right? So your therapist has that in mind all the time, unconditional positive regard. So they're not going to judge you, and they're not going to kind of tell you what to do or how to fix yourself. They're going to listen, and within that process, we find change. And I think it's really beautiful how it works. Inhale, come back to center, take a full exhale, and then come back in the opposite direction. And it takes time, right? For me, it took about 18 months. And I invested in that time. It was probably one of the most important things that I was doing. It was the most important thing that I did at that time in my life. And then what I managed to do now is take that work that I've done, just on a daily basis and use those skills and ultimately just feel a little bit better about myself, or feel a lot better about myself, that I'm all right? And I can use myself in a purposeful way and be connected to community, feel a lot better. All right, inhale, come back to center. And then take a full exhale. Lean back into the hands and then bring your feet nice and wide and then just drop your knees side to side. The road sweeper is going by in Leicester City Centre. So we'll do this for a little bit longer. It goes by about 7 times a day. At least they're keeping the roads nice and clean. In theory anyway. All right, come back to the seated position, and then we're going to do a nice spinal twist. So you could do this in lots of ways. You can do it like this with the hands in cactus, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. Or the way I like to do it, bring my hands onto my shoulders and then I'll twist like this. But you find something that works for you. Inhale left, exhale right. And go at your rhythm. You might go really slowly. You might move a little bit quicker. And what we're doing here, we're just twisting the spine open, which is a really amazing way to open your spine. And then maybe slow it down if you're going a little bit quicker. And then inhale, come back to center. Take a full exhale, bring the hands down, and then straight into a little bit of movement through our shoulders. So the palms will be down on the knees. You're going to inhale the shoulders up and then exhale them down. And go at a rhythm that feels good for you. And then from here, just roll your shoulders out. So drop your shoulders back down and then roll your shoulders a few times forwards. Nice. A few times back. Just kind of freeing up around the shoulders, around the neck. Going to go there in a minute. Drop your chin down towards your sternum. Let your head be nice and heavy. And then just rock your head a little side to side. And then from here, begin to circle your head out. And then come back in the opposite direction. And then when you're ready, inhale, bring your head all the way back to center. And take a full exhale. Nice. Bring your left hand down. Inhale your right arm to the left. Exhale your left arm to the right. So just kind of move like this, side to side. Inhale left. Exhale right. So now we get this lateral movement, right? So we get to open up through the side of the body. Now again, I'm moving relatively quickly. Not super fast or anything, but if you want to slow this right down, be my guest. You know, these are dynamic movements. So we move in, we move out. You know, this class starts at 2:30 in the afternoon, so we can feel a little bit tired. And I was really conscious of saying that last year. I'd be like, oh, I can feel really tired in the afternoon. And talking about hope and change, I've kind of really changed how I eat in the last 3 months. I've got so much more energy. So I've cut out all the rubbish, all the processed food, a lot of the sugar that I was resistant to cutting out. And I feel so much better for it. And now I've got even more energy, which is, you know, as the 2:30 in the afternoon comes and I feel a bit tired, I just feel a lot better. I'm also going to the sauna nearly every day. So I'm loving the sauna. And the gym and all that sort of stuff, and yoga and walking and spending time with good people, right? But as I said earlier, this is things that don't change overnight. They take time, and I think there has to be some joy in the process of that, right? Of kind of finding things that work for you. It's going to be individual, but knowing that looking after yourself is really important and worth it. And the Virtual Village Hall will provide a lot of that amazing content and inspiration for you. So again, come back to that hope and know that it's never too late. Never too late to change and to have hope. It's beautiful, right? It's exciting. All right, a couple more times either side. And then whatever top arm is lifted, exhale, bring it down. Do this, root your fingertips down into the floor, take an inhale. And then take a full exhale. One more like that. Deep inhale. And then a full exhale. Beautiful. Really nice. Why don't we come to stand? We've got 10 minutes left. So let's come to stand up. I've just got to do one thing. I do apologise because my WhatsApp is on and I want to turn it off because it's beeped a couple of times, which is slightly annoying. So I do apologise. All right. Come with your feet about hip width apart. Okay. Nice. Bring your right hand on your heart. Inhale, left arm to the left, exhale, right arm to the right. So we do this quite a lot. So kind of just free everything up. Inhale left, exhale right. We're going to bring a little bit of balancing back today as well. I bet you're like, oh, goody. Can't wait, Dave. But I know you've all been working on your balance, right? Yeah, every day. I'm sure some of you are, right? But staying kind of fit and strong, or as fit and strong as we can be, it's all subjective, right? But balance is a really big part of that. But just carry on like this just for a little bit. There's balance going on here, right? You kind of moving side to side. And then slow it down. Beautiful. And then bring the hands so they face forward. Take a deep inhale. Take a full exhale. Nice. And then we're going to come into a balance. So we can build this. Should we see where we get to? You're going to balance on the right leg first of all. So maybe start here, hands on the hips. Now remember, in balancing, your gaze is quite important, because if you start looking around and moving your head, you can really find yourself unbalanced very quickly. So root down through that right foot and maybe just lift up through the left leg, just like this, right? Now that is a balance going on. And one of the amazing things, I've talked about this in the past, is like brush your teeth like this, right? Or like this. And then you can sort of really practice that out. One of the really good things to do is to put your shoes on and do your shoelaces up and put your socks on by kind of coming down and grabbing your shoes like this, right? So that's what you would eventually be looking to do. It's like an everyday habit. If you want, and you haven't already, make a basket grip and hug around your left knee, right? So this is a great balance, right? Spine is long, shoulders are relaxed. There could be a little bit of movement. If you fall out, just come straight back in. And I promise you, as long as you're doing this safely, right? You can always bring a finger against the wall or a palm against the wall to find that balance. Then the brain takes a little bit of time to catch up and the body to engage, but over time it gets easier. So I try and do a little bit every single day. And when I say a little bit, it might be, a minute. I'll stand in the gym and I might do it for a little bit there. All right. Bring your leg down, or do it at home, right? I do it at home a lot of the time. I do that thing when I put my shoes on and off, and I try and do it on one leg. It's a great way because you're moving within the balance. So we could try that on this side, not put a shoe on, but maybe we can move within the span. So left foot, maybe just here, right? Great balance. Bring your arms out, you get a little counterbalance going on. You can hug into the knee and maybe squeeze the knee in. That can feel nice. And maybe you kind of move around a little bit. So you can do this kind of thing. It doesn't have to be formal, right? It's just kind of moving around. You might even be brave enough to move your eyes around. Even though I said at the start, and it's important to gaze at one spot. If you feel comfortable, maybe kind of move around like this, right? And you just learn to find that balance again. Because when we were much younger, we did this without even thinking, right? And then as we all got a little bit older, we lost the ability because we didn't practice. All right, should we bring that foot down? Bring it down, beautiful. Sway it out a little bit side to side. And then we'll come back into a balance. And why don't we try tree pose? So in tree, same sort of thing. You can bring your foot here, right? So toes on the floor, foot here on the calf. Or sometimes I do it this way. I'm not sure with trousers on, but yeah, there we go. You can bring your foot into your upper thigh and you find yourself here, right, in tree. You open in this left hip out a little bit, but go on the calf or go a little bit lower. Nice. This is a classic yoga pose, right? You can bring the arms out, have a little sway around, and then maybe come out, and then bring the foot down, have a little shake side to side, and then maybe come in to the opposite side. So you can lift up through the right leg. If I go high, I always use my hand on my foot just to kind of bring the leg up because I need that little bit of assistance. And then maybe here, maybe the arms come out. You can be on the calf, you can have the toes on the floor and be on the ankle. There's all of these alternatives, right? See how it feels. Nice. Find your stability, your ease, and then come out. Maybe just lengthen the leg and have a little sway around, and then bring the hands down, bring the feet down, and find yourself in Tadasana. Breathe it out, maybe close the eyes. Notice what it feels like just to stand And then from here, if you're not there, come to the top of your mat. We're going to come into child's pose. Next week, what we'll do is we'll do a little bit more strength-based work. So we'll kind of come into some planks and we'll do some down dogs. But for now, take an inhale, sweep your arms up. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and come all the way down. Nice. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine. So come with your spine relatively long. Exhale, hands are down. Let's do one plank. So steps one foot back than the other. I arrive here, I'm way too high, so I press into my feet and then find myself a plank. Maybe you can do it this way, knees are down, or you can do it this way, knees are up. Breathe it out. Deep inhales. Full exhale. So you don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. You sort of want to be in this position if your knees are up. From here, we're going to come into child's pose. So split the knees wide, big toes touch, and then just sit back towards your sit bones, towards your heels. And maybe just kind of move around a little in this child's pose. You don't have to be still. We're not going to be here for long. Take one more round of breath. And then bring yourself back to all fours, and then just gently move your spine out. So inhale, drop your belly down, lift your head, lift your heart. Exhale to round your spine. Really lovely way just to free up the back of the body. Make sure your jaw's nice and relaxed. Couple more. And then inhale, come back to center. And then as you exhale, come back to a seated position. I'm going to come a little bit closer to you guys. We're going to finish seated today. We won't do Shavasana, but next week, I promise you, we'll do more flow, more strength-based stuff. And then we'll do, obviously, Shavasana next week as well. Beautiful. All right. So from here, what I'd like you to do is find some length in your spine again. Bring your hands onto your knees. Maybe close your eyes and just check in. Just notice the effects of your practice. You know, right toward the end of the class here, you might notice how things have changed, you know, how things have shifted. The way I think about yoga is that, sure, it's a physical practice. We move, we stretch, we bend, we get more flexible, we get stronger, hopefully. But it's this mind-body connection that's really important, that feels good. You know, things change and, you know, there's always that, you know, hope that things change as well. Take another 2 or 3 more rounds of breath. And then from here, just very gently bring your hands into prayer. Press your thumbs into your sternum, sit nice and tall. And then, as always, with a wholehearted bow, really wish yourself well. Wish everybody else well. Namaste. Thanks, you guys. Thank you for coming along today. And if you're relatively new to the Virtual Village Hall, then what I would say is check out all the amazing content and all the amazing instructors and people that provide content. There's an amazing team working behind the scenes that are always thinking on their feet and always evolving and changing. They put a lot of love and care into the content and also for running the service. But check it out. I always use YouTube. I can see what's coming. I can see what's gone. There's all the videos that you can catch up on. And there's loads of variety, right? You know, sit fit, brain workout, and Pilates and seated Pilates. There's another seated yoga class that happens as well. There's all the stuff that Andy does, the HIIT stuff, Max with the meditation, right? And then there's lots of creative stuff, language, dance, tap. So there's something for everyone. If you kind of think to yourself, oh, you know, yoga's a bit, yeah, it's not for me, mate. There is something there for you. And it's just getting this working, the heart, the lungs, we get to breathe, we get to be creative, right? We're not stuck all the time. Look at all of the stuff from the content. Look at the stuff from Dr. Hussein, which was amazing. It's a great video about exercise snacking, which just opened so many people's minds to, so I don't need to go out for an hour's run or go down the gym. I can do it this way. You build it all into your life, and it's beautiful and it's exciting. And that's what gives us hope, right? So check out all of that. Check out all the content, and hopefully I'll see you next week for chair yoga. And then I'll be back here next Thursday at 2:30 for mat-based yoga, where we will do more strength-based stuff. We shouldn't shy away from that stuff as well. There's lots of stuff that we can still learn and build. All right, everyone, look after yourselves. I'll see you all soon. Take care now. Bye.